Let me begin with a simple truth I've learned after decades of studying success, failure, discipline, and human potential. Your life is the way it is right now because of how organized or disorganized you allow it to be. I spent my entire adult life observing high performers, interviewing top achievers, and working with thousands of men and women around the world. And I can tell you this without hesitation, the moment you force yourself to organize your life, everything begins to change. Let me ask you a question right away, and I want you to really think about it before you answer. If someone followed you around for one full day and looked at how you spend your time, your energy, and your attention, would it be obvious where your life is going, or would it look scattered, reactive, and unfocused? Write your answer in the comments below, because clarity begins with honesty. Most people live their lives on autopilot. They wake up, check their phone, react to messages, react to problems, react to other people's priorities, and before they know it, the day is gone. Then the week is gone. Then the year is gone. And eventually they wonder where their life went. I want you to understand something very important. Success is not an accident. An organized life does not happen by chance. It is forced. It is chosen. It is built deliberately, one decision at a time. When I say force yourself, I mean exactly that. Your natural tendency is to drift toward comfort, distraction, and least effort. That's human nature. Your brain is wired to conserve energy, not to maximize potential. If you wait until you feel like organizing your life, you'll be waiting forever. High achievers don't wait for motivation. They act first, and motivation follows. Here's a fact that may surprise you. The average person spends more time planning a vacation than planning their life. Think about that. People will research hotels, flights, restaurants, and schedules for a few days away, but they won't spend one uninterrupted hour deciding what they truly want from their career, their finances, their health, or their relationships. And then they wonder why nothing seems to improve. If you don't decide what you want, life will decide for you. Organization begins with clarity. You cannot organize chaos unless you first define what matters. One of the most powerful exercises I've ever practiced and taught is this. Sit down with a blank sheet of paper and write, in complete detail, what your ideal life would look like 3 to 5 years from now. Not what you think is realistic, not what others expect of you. What you truly want. Your income, your work, your lifestyle, your health, your family, your personal growth. Most people never do this, and that's why most people never escape mediocrity. Let me challenge you directly. If you're not where you want to be right now, it's not because you lack talent. It's not because you lack intelligence. It's because your life is not organized around your highest priorities. Disorganization shows up as procrastination. It shows up as overwhelm. It shows up as starting many things and finishing very few. And every unfinished task drains your mental energy. Your mind is like a computer. Every unresolved commitment is an open file running in the background, slowing everything else down. When your life is cluttered with loose ends, your thinking becomes cluttered as well. That's why highly organized people appear calmer, more confident, and more focused. They are not smarter than you. They have simply trained themselves to close mental loops. One of the most dangerous habits you can develop is confusing movement with progress. Being busy does not mean you're being effective. I've met people who work 10 or 12 hours a day and still go nowhere. Why? Because they never stop to organize their activities around results. They let urgency replace importance. They let noise replace purpose. An organized life is not about doing more things. It's about doing fewer things that matter far more. Here's a principle that can change your entire future if you apply it consistently. Before you begin any day, ask yourself, what is the one thing I could do today that would make everything else easier or unnecessary? That question forces your mind to focus on leverage. It forces organization at the highest level. Most people never ask it, which is why they spend their lives climbing ladders that are leaning against the wrong wall. Discipline is simply the ability to do what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. And discipline thrives in an organized environment. When your goals are clear, your plans are written, and your priorities are set, discipline becomes easier. When everything is vague, discipline feels impossible. Clarity precedes control. Let me be very direct with you. If your environment is disorganized, your thinking will be disorganized. If your schedule is chaotic, your results will be chaotic. If your goals are unclear, your future will be unclear. You cannot separate your outer world from your inner world. Organization is not a personality trait. It is a learned skill, and like any skill, it improves with practice. Right now, there is something in your life you know you should organize, but you've been putting it off. It might be your finances. It might be your daily routine. It might be your goals. It might be your physical space. Procrastination is not a time problem. It is a decision problem. The moment you decide firmly and without negotiation, that order is no longer optional, your behavior will begin to change. I want you to understand this as well. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. An organized life is built on simple, repeatable systems that reduce decision fatigue and eliminate unnecessary stress. When you decide in advance how you will live, work, and spend your time, you free your mind to focus on growth, creativity, and achievement. Now let me take you deeper, because organization is not about perfection. It's about control. It's about intentional living. And the moment you begin to organize your life, you reclaim something most people lose without ever realizing it: personal power. Disorganized people feel powerless. Organized people feel in command. That feeling alone can change your entire self-image. One of the biggest lies people tell themselves is this: once things slow down, I'll get organized. Let me tell you the truth. Things never slow down. Life speeds up, responsibilities increase, demands multiply. If you don't force structure into your life early, chaos will force itself upon you later. Organization is not something you do after life calms down. It's something you do so life doesn't overwhelm you. Time is your most valuable asset, and yet most people treat it like it's unlimited. It isn't. Every minute you waste is gone forever. That's why highly successful people are obsessed with how they use their time. They don't manage time, they manage themselves. They decide in advance what deserves their best hours and what doesn't deserve any time at all. Here's a fact you can take to the bank. The quality of your life is largely determined by the quality of your habits, and habits are born from structure. When you organize your day, you organize your behavior. When you organize your behavior, you organize your results. If you wake up without a plan, you've already handed control of your day to the outside world. I've worked with executives, entrepreneurs, and top performers across every industry you can imagine, and I've noticed a pattern that never fails. People who earn the most, accomplish the most, and feel the most fulfilled are not the busiest. They are the most deliberate. They decide what they will work on before distractions get a vote. Let me give you a simple but powerful discipline. At the end of every day, write down the 6 most important things you need to accomplish tomorrow. Not 10, not 20, 6. Then prioritize them in order of importance. When you wake up, start with number 1 and do not move on until it's complete. This single habit, practiced consistently, has transformed more careers than talent or luck ever could. Why does this work? Because it forces your brain to focus on completion. Most stress comes from unfinished business. When you complete important tasks, you build momentum. Momentum builds confidence. Confidence fuels action, and action creates results. Organization is not about controlling everything. It's about controlling what matters. Let's talk about goals, because this is where most people fall apart. They say they have goals, but what they really have are wishes. A goal without a written plan is nothing more than a fantasy. When you write your goals down, something remarkable happens. Your subconscious mind begins working on them 24 hours a day. You start noticing opportunities you would have ignored before. You start making better decisions automatically. I want you to understand this clearly. Written goals increase the likelihood of achievement by a factor of 10. That's not motivation, that's math. And yet, fewer than 5% of adults ever write down clear goals. That means the organized minority always outperforms the disorganized majority. Not because they're better people, but because they're clearer people. Another area where organization changes everything is energy. Disorganization is exhausting. Clutter drains you. Confusion drains you. Indecision drains you. When your life is structured, your energy increases. You sleep better. You think better. You act with more purpose. Organization is not restrictive, it's liberating. Let me challenge a belief that may be holding you back. Many people think organization kills creativity. The opposite is true. Structure creates freedom. When your basics are handled, your schedule, your priorities, your commitments, your mind is free to explore, innovate, and grow. Chaos doesn't make you creative, it makes you anxious. You don't need to organize your entire life in one day. That's another trap people fall into. They try to overhaul everything at once, get overwhelmed, and quit. Progress comes from incremental improvement. Start with one area. Your morning routine, your workspace, your finances. Bring order to one corner of your life, and it will spill into the others. Let me be very honest with you. Organization requires courage. It requires facing reality. It requires admitting what's not working. Many people avoid organization because it forces self-confrontation. But that confrontation is the doorway to growth. You cannot change what you refuse to see. Every time you organize something, your desk, your schedule, your goals, you send a powerful message to yourself. You say, my life matters, my time matters, my future matters. And the more often you send that message, the stronger your self-respect becomes. Now let me talk to you about the real test of organization pressure. Anyone can feel organized when life is calm. The true measure of control is how you operate when things are busy, uncertain, and demanding. And here's what I've learned. Pressure doesn't create disorder. Pressure reveals it. When your systems are weak, stress exposes them immediately. When your systems are strong, stress sharpens your performance. One of the most valuable skills you will ever develop is the ability to protect your focus. We are living in the most distracted age in human history. Your phone, your email, social media, endless notifications, they are all competing for your attention. And understand this clearly. Whatever controls your attention controls your life. If you don't organize how and when you give attention to the world will take it from you without asking. I want you to think of focus as a muscle. The more you protect it, the stronger it becomes. Every time you resist distraction and return to your most important task, you reinforce self-discipline. And discipline, practiced daily, becomes identity. You stop thinking of yourself as someone who tries to stay organized. You become someone who is organized. Let me give you a powerful mindset shift. Stop asking, how do I get everything done? And start asking, what must be done no matter what? You cannot do everything. That's a fantasy. But you can do the right things consistently. Organization is the art of elimination. When you remove the non-essential, the essential becomes obvious. Here's something I want you to remember for the rest of your life. You will never feel ready to live at your highest level. Readiness is a myth. Confidence comes after action, not before it. Organization works the same way. You don't wait until life feels under control to organize. You organize so life comes under control. There will be days when your plans fall apart. That's normal. Organization is not rigidity. It's resilience. When something unexpected happens, an organized person adjusts quickly because they know their priorities. A disorganized person panics because everything feels equally important. Clarity gives you flexibility. Let's talk about self-discipline again, because this is where long-term success lives. Discipline is not something you are born with. It is something you train. And the best way to train discipline is through small, consistent acts of order. Make your bed. Plan your day. Finish what you start. These are not trivial actions. They are votes for the person you are becoming. Every successful life I've studied is built on routines. Morning routines, work routines, evening routines. Routines remove randomness from your behavior. They reduce emotional decision-making. They keep you moving forward even on days when motivation is low. When your life is organized, you don't need willpower all the time. Your structure carries you. I want you to understand this deeply. You teach people how to treat you by the standards you set for yourself. When your life is disorganized, you communicate uncertainty. When your life is structured, you communicate confidence. And confidence attracts opportunities. People trust those who appear in control of themselves. Now let me bring this home. The goal of organization is not to live a perfect life. The goal is to live an intentional one. It's to wake up knowing why you're doing what you're doing. It's to go to bed knowing you moved one step closer to something meaningful. That sense of progress is one of the greatest sources of happiness available to any human being. You don't need to overhaul your life tomorrow, but you do need to start today. Decide on one system you will put in place and keep in place, one habit you will organize and protect. Momentum is born from follow-through, and once momentum starts, it becomes much easier to keep going than to stop. Let me leave you with this final thought. Your life, right now, is a reflection of your standards. If you raise your standards around order, clarity, and discipline, your results will rise automatically. You don't need to wish for a better future. You need to organize for it. Force yourself to organize your life, not because it's easy, not because it's comfortable, but because your potential demands it. And when you do, you'll discover something extraordinary. You are never lacking ability. You are simply lacking structure. And structure, once embraced, changes everything.